an entirely collective affair, since society as a whole needs the magically effective figure that uses this need of the will to power in the individual, and the will to submit in the mass as a vehicle, and thus brings about the creation of personal prestige. The latter is a phenomenon which, as the history of political institutions shows, is of the utmost importance for the Committee of Nations. The importance of personal prestige can hardly be overestimated, because the possibility of regressive dissolution in the collective psyche is a very real danger, not only for the outstanding individual, but also for his followers. The possibility is most likely to occur when the goal of prestige, universal recognition, has been reached. The person then becomes a collective truth, and that is always the beginning of the end. To gain prestige is a positive achievement, not only for the outstanding individual, but also for the clan. The individual distinguishes himself by his deeds, the many by their renunciation of power. So long as this attitude needs to be fought for and defended against hostile influences, the achievement remains positive. But as soon as there are no more obstacles and universal recognition has been attained, prestige loses its positive value and usually becomes a dead letter. A schismatic movement then sets in, and the whole process begins again from the beginning. Because personality is of such paramount importance for the life of the community, everything likely to disturb its development is sensed as a danger. But the greatest danger of all is the premature dissolution of prestige by an invasion of the collective psyche. Absolute secrecy is one of the best known primitive means of exercising this danger. Collective thinking and feeling and collective effort are far less of a strain than individual functioning and effort. Hence, there is always a great temptation to allow collective functioning to take the place of individual differentiation of the personality. Once the personality has been differentiated and safeguarded by magical prestige, its leveling down and eventual dissolution in the collective psyche, e.g., Peter's denial, occasion a loss of soul in the individual, because an important personal achievement has been either neglected or allowed to slip into regression. For this reason, taboo infringements are followed by draconian punishments, altogether in keeping with the seriousness of the situation. So long as we regard these things from the causal point of view as mere historical survivals and metastases of the incest taboo, it is impossible to understand what all these measures are for. If, however, we approach the problem from the teleological point of view, much that was inexplicable becomes clear. For the development of personality, then, strict differentiation from the collective psyche is absolutely necessary, since partial or blurred differentiation leads to an immediate melting away of the individual in the collective. There is now a danger that in the analysis of the unconscious, the collective and the personal psyche may be fused together, with, as I have intimated, highly unfortunate results. These results are injurious both to the patient's life feeling and to his fellow men, if he has any influence at all on his environment. Through his identification with the collective psyche, he will infallibly try to force the demands of his unconscious upon others, for identity with the collective psyche always brings with it a feeling of universal validity, godlikeness, which completely ignores all differences in the personal psyche of his fellows. The feeling of universal validity comes, of course, from the universality of the collective psyche. A collective attitude naturally presupposes the same collective psyche in others, but that means a ruthless disregard not only of individual differences, but also of differences of a more general kind within the collective psyche itself, as, for example, differences of race. This disregard for individuality obviously means the suffocation of the single individual, as a consequence of which the element of differentiation is obliterated from the community. The element of differentiation is the individual. All the highest achievements of virtue, as well as the blackest villainies, are individual. The larger a community is, and the more the sum total of collective factors peculiar to every large community rests on conservative prejudices detrimental to individuality, the more will the individual be morally and spiritually crushed, and, as a result, the one source of moral and spiritual progress for society is choked up. Naturally, the only thing that can thrive in such an atmosphere is sociality and whatever is collective in the individual. Everything individual in him goes under, i.e., is doomed to repression. The individual elements lapse into the unconscious, where, by the law of necessity, they are transformed into something essentially baleful, destructive, and anarchical. Socially, this evil principle shows itself in the spectacular crimes, regicide and the like, perpetuated by certain prophetically inclined individuals, but in the great mass of the community, it remains in the background, and only manifests itself indirectly in the inexorable moral degeneration of society. It is a notorious fact that the morality of society as a whole is in inverse ratio to its size. For the greater the aggregation of individuals, the more the individual factors are blotted out, and with them, morality, which rests entirely on the moral sense of the individual and the freedom necessary for this. Hence, every man is, in a certain sense, unconsciously a worse man when he is in society than when acting alone, for he is carried by society and to that extent relieved of his individual responsibility. Any large company composed of wholly admirable persons has the morality and intelligence of an unwieldy, stupid, and violent animal. The bigger the organization, the more unavoidable is its immorality and blind stupidity. Senatus bestia, senatores boni viri. Society, by automatically stressing all the collective qualities in its individual representatives, puts a premium on mediocrity, on everything that settles down to vegetate in an easy, irresponsible way. Individuality will inevitably be driven to the wall. This process begins in school, continues at the university, and rules all departments in which the state has a hand. In a small social body, the individuality of its members is better safeguarded, and the greater is their relative freedom and the possibility of conscious responsibility. Without freedom, there can be no morality. Our admiration for great organizations dwindles when once we become aware of the other side of the wonder, the tremendous piling up and accentuation of all that is primitive in man, and the unavoidable destruction of his individuality in the interests of the monstrosity that every great organization in fact is. The man of today, who resembles more or less the collective ideal, has made his heart into a den of murders, as can easily be proved by the analysis of his unconscious, even though he himself is not in the least disturbed by it. And insofar as he is normally adapted to his environment, it is true that the greatest infamy on the part of his group will not disturb him so long as the majority of his fellows steadfastly believe in the exalted morality of their social organization. Now, all that I have said here about the influence of society upon the individual is identically true of the influence of the collective unconscious upon the individual psyche, but as is apparent from my examples, the latter influence is as invisible as the former is visible. Hence, it is not surprising that its inner effects are not understood, and those to whom such things happen are called pathological freaks and treated as crazy. If one of them happened to be a real genius, the fact would not be noted until the next generation or the one after. So obvious does it seem to us that a man should drown in his own dignity, so utterly incomprehensible that he should seek anything other than what the mob wants, and that he should vanish permanently from view in this other. One could wish both of them a sense of humor, that, according to Schopenhauer, truly divine attribute of man, which alone befits him to maintain his soul in freedom. The collective instincts and fundamental forms of thinking and feeling, whose activity is revealed by the analysis of the unconscious, constitute, for the conscious personality, an acquisition which it cannot assimilate without considerable disturbance. It is, therefore, of the utmost importance in practical treatment to keep the integrity of the personality constantly in mind. For, if the collective psyche is taken to be the personal possession of the individual, it will result in a distortion or an overloading of the personality, which is very difficult to deal with. Hence, it is imperative to make a clear distinction between personal contents and those of the collective psyche. This distinction is far from easy, because the personal grows out of the collective psyche and is intimately bound up with it. So it is difficult to say exactly what contents are to be called personal and what collective. There is no doubt, for instance, that archaic symbolisms, such as we frequently find in fantasies and dreams, are collective factors. All basic instincts and basic forms of thinking and feeling are collective. Everything that all men agree in regarding as universal is collective. Likewise, everything that is universally understood, universally found, universally said and done. On closer examination, one is always astonished to see how much of our so-called individual psychology is really collective. So much, indeed, that the individual traits are completely overshadowed by it. Since, however, individuation is an ineluctable psychological necessity, we can see from the ascendancy of the collective what very special attention must be paid to this delicate plant, individuality, if it is not to be completely smothered. Human beings have one faculty, which, though it is of the greatest utility for collective purposes, is most pernicious for individuation, and that is the faculty of imitation. Collective psychology cannot dispense with imitation, for without it all mass organizations, the state and the social order, are impossible. Society is organized, indeed, less by law than by the propensity of imitation, implying equally suggestibility, suggestion, and mental contagion. But we see every day how people use, or rather abuse, the mechanism of imitation for the purpose of personal differentiation. They are content to ape some eminent personality, some striking characteristic or mode of behavior, thereby achieving an outward distinction from the circle in which they move. We can almost say that as a punishment for this, the uniformity of their minds with those of their neighbors, already real enough, is intensified into an unconscious, compulsive bondage to the environment. As a rule, these specious attempts at individual differentiation stiffen into a pose. The imitator remains the same level as he always was, only several degrees more sterile than before. To find out what is truly individual in ourselves, profound reflection is needed, and suddenly we realize how uncommonly difficult the discovery of individuality is. 3. The persona as a segment of the collective psyche. In this chapter we come to a problem which, if overlooked, is liable to cause the greatest confusion. It will be remembered that in the analysis of the personal, unconscious, the first things to be added to consciousness are the personal contents, and I suggested that these contents, which have been repressed but are capable of becoming conscious, should be called the personal unconscious. I also showed that to annex the deeper layers of the unconscious, which I have called the collective unconscious, produces an enlargement of the personality, leading to the state of inflation. This state is reached by simply continuing the analytical work, as in the case of the young woman discussed above. But continuing the analysis, we add to the personal consciousness certain fundamental, general, and impersonal characteristics of humanity, thereby bringing about the inflation I have just described, which might be regarded as one of the unpleasant consequences of becoming fully conscious. From this point of view, the conscious personality is a more or less arbitrary segment of the collective psyche. It consists in a sum of psychic facts that are felt to be personal. The attribute personal means pertaining exclusively to this particular person. A consciousness that is purely personal stresses its proprietary and original right to its contents with a certain anxiety, and in this way seeks to create a whole. But all those contents that refuse to fit into this whole are either overlooked and forgotten or repressed and denied. There is one way of educating oneself, but it is too arbitrary and too much of a violation. Far too much of our common humanity has to be sacrificed in the interests of an ideal image into which one tries to mold oneself. Hence, these purely personal people are always very sensitive, for something may easily happen that will bring into consciousness an unwelcome portion of their real individual character. This arbitrary segment of collective psyche, often fashioned with considerable pains, I have called the persona. The term persona is really a very appropriate expression for this, for originally it meant the mask once worn by actors to indicate the role they played. If we endeavor to draw a precise distinction between what psychic material should be considered personal and what impersonal, we soon find ourselves in the greatest dilemma. For, by definition, we have to say of the persona's contents that we have said of the impersonal unconscious, namely that it is collective. It is only because the persona represents a more or less arbitrary and fortuitous segment of the collective psyche that we can make the mistake of regarding it in toto as something individual. It is, as its name implies, only a mask of the collective psyche, a mask that feigns individuality, making others and oneself believe that one is individual, whereas one is simply acting a role through which the collective psyche speaks. When we analyze the persona, we strip off the mask and discover that what seemed to be individual is at bottom collective. In other words, that the persona was only a mask of the collective psyche. Fundamentally, the persona is nothing real. It is a compromise between individual and society as to what a man should appear to be. He takes a name, earns a title, exercises a function, he is this or that. In a certain sense, all of this is real, yet in relation to the essential individuality of the person concerned, it is only a secondary reality, a compromise formation, in making which others have a greater share than he. The persona is a semblance, two-dimensional reality, to give it a new name. It would be wrong to leave the matter as it stands, without at the same time recognizing that there is, after all, something individual in the peculiar choice and delineation of the persona, and that despite the exclusive identity of the ego consciousness, with the persona, the unconscious self, one's real individuality, is always present and makes itself felt indirectly, if not directly. Although the ego consciousness is at first identical with the persona, that compromise role in which we parade before the community, yet the unconscious self can never be repressed to the point of extinction. Its influence is chiefly manifest in the special nature of the contrasting and compensating contents of the unconscious. The purely personal attitude of the conscious mind evokes reactions on the part of the unconscious, and these, together with personal repressions, contain the seeds of individual development in the guise of collective fantasies. Through the analysis of the personal unconscious, the conscious mind becomes suffused with collective material, which brings with it the elements of individuality. I am well aware that this conclusion must be almost unintelligible to anyone not familiar with my views and technique, and particularly so to those who habitually regard the unconscious from the standpoint of Freudian theory. But if the reader will recall my example of the philosophy student, he can form a rough idea of what I mean. At the beginning of the treatment, the patient was quite unconscious of the fact that her relation to her father was a fixation, that she was therefore seeking a man like her father, whom she could then meet with her intellect. This in itself would not have been a mistake if her intellect had not had that peculiarly protesting character, such as is unfortunately often encountered in intellectual women. Such an intellect is always trying to point out mistakes in others. It is preeminently critical, with a disagreeable personal undertone, yet it always wants to be considered objective. This invariably makes a man bad-tempered, particularly if, as it so often happens, the criticism touches on some weak spot, which, in the interests of fruitful discussion, were better avoided. But far from wishing the discussion to be fruitful, it is the unfortunate peculiarity of this feminine intellect to seek out a man's weak spots, fasten on them, and exasperate him. This is not usually a conscious aim, but rather has the unconscious purpose of forcing a man into a superior position, and thus making him an object of admiration. The man does not, as a rule, notice that he is having the role of the hero thrust upon him. He merely finds her taunts so odious that in future he will go a long way to avoid meeting the lady. In the end, the only man who can stand her is the one who gives in at the start, and therefore has nothing wonderful about him. My patient naturally found much to reflect upon in all this, for she had no notion of the game she was playing. Moreover, she still had to gain insight into the regular romance that had been enacted between her and her father ever since childhood. It would lead us too far to describe in detail how, from her earliest years, with unconscious sympathy, she had played upon the shadow side of her father, which her mother never saw, and how, far in advance of her years, she became her mother's rival. All this came to light in the analysis of the personal unconscious, since, if only for professional reasons, I could not allow myself to be irritated. I inevitably became the hero and father-lover. The transference, too, consisted at first of contents from the personal unconscious. My role as a hero was just a sham, and so, as it turned me into the merest phantom, she was able to play her traditional role of the supremely wise, very grown-up, all-understanding mother, daughter, beloved. An empty role, a persona behind which her real and authentic being, her individual self, lay hidden. Indeed, to the extent that she at first completely identified herself with her role, she was altogether unconscious of her real self. She was still in her nebulous infantile world, and had not yet discovered the real world at all. But as, through progressive analysis, she became conscious of the nature of her transference, the dreams I spoke of in Chapter 1 began to materialize. They brought up bits of the collective unconscious, and that was the end of her infantile world and of all the heroics. She came to herself into her own real potentialities. This is roughly the way things go in most cases, if the analysis is carried far enough. That the consciousness of her individuality should coincide exactly with the reactivation of an archaic God image is not just an isolated coincidence, but a very frequent occurrence, which in my view corresponds to an unconscious law. After this digression, let's go back to our earlier reflections. Once the personal repressions are lifted, the individuality and the collective psyche begin to emerge in a coalescent state, thus releasing the hitherto repressed personal fantasies. The fantasies and dreams which now appear assume a somewhat different aspect. An infallible sign of collective images seems to be the appearance of the cosmic element, i.e. the images in the dream or fantasy are connected with cosmic qualities, such as temporal and spatial infinity, enormous speed, and extensions of movement. Astrological associations, telluric, lunar, and solar analogies, changes in the proportions of the body, etc. The obvious occurrence of mythological and religious motifs in a dream also points to the activity of the collective unconscious. The collective element is very often announced by peculiar symptoms, as for example by dreams where the dreamer is flying through space on a comet, or feels that he is the earth, or the sun, or a star, or else is of immense size, or dwarfishly small, or that he is dead, is in a strange place, is a stranger to himself, confused, mad, etc. Similarly, feelings of disorientation, of dizziness, and the like may appear along with symptoms of inflation. The forces that burnt out of the collective psyche have a confusing and blinding effect. One resultant of the dissolution of the persona is a release of involuntary fantasy, which is apparently nothing else than the specific activity of the collective psyche. This activity throws up contents whose existence one had never suspected before. But as the influence of the collective unconscious increases, so the conscious mind loses its power of leadership. Imperceptibly it becomes the lead, while an unconscious and impersonal process gradually takes control. Thus, without noticing it, the conscious personality is pushed about like a figure on a chessboard by an invisible player. It is this player who decides the game of fate, not the conscious mind and its plans. This is how the resolution of the transference, apparently so impossible to the conscious mind, was brought about in my earlier example. The plunge into this process becomes unavoidable whenever the necessity arises of overcoming an apparently insuperable difficulty. It goes without saying that this necessity does not occur in every case of neurosis, since perhaps in the majority the prime consideration is only the removal of temporary difficulties of adaptation. Certainly severe cases cannot be cured without a far-reaching change of character or of attitude. In by far the greatest number, adaptation to external reality demands so much work that inner adaptation to the collective unconscious cannot be considered for a very long time. But when this inner adaptation becomes a problem, a strange, irresistible attraction proceeds from the unconscious and exerts a powerful influence on the conscious direction of life. The predominance of unconscious influences, together with the associated disintegration of the persona and the deposition of the conscious mind from power, constitute a state of psychic disequilibrium, which, in analytical treatment, is artificially induced for the therapeutic purpose of resolving a difficulty that might block further development. There are, of course, innumerable obstacles that can be overcome with good advice and a little moral support, aided by goodwill and understanding on the part of the patient. Excellent curative results can be obtained in this way. Cases are not uncommon where there is no need to breathe a word about the unconscious. But again, there are difficulties for which one can foresee no satisfactory solution. If, in these cases, the psychic equilibrium is not already disturbed before treatment begins, it will certainly be upset during the analysis, and sometimes without any interference by the doctor. It often seems as though these patients had only been waiting to find a trustworthy person in order to give up and collapse. Such a loss of balance is similar in principle to a psychotic disturbance. That is, it differs from the initial stages of mental illness only by the fact that it leads in the end to greater health, while the latter leads to yet greater destruction. It is a condition of panic, a letting go in face of apparently hopeless complications. Mostly it was preceded by desperate efforts to master the difficulty by force of will. Then came the collapse, and the once guiding will crumbles completely. The energy, thus freed, disappears from consciousness and falls into the unconscious. As a matter of fact, it is at these moments that the first signs of unconscious activity appear. I am thinking of the example of that young man who was weak in the head. Obviously, the energy that fell away from consciousness has activated the unconscious. The immediate result is a change of attitude. One can easily imagine a stronger head, which would have taken that vision of the stars as a healing apparition, and would have looked upon human suffering sub specie aeternitatis, in which case his senses would have been restored. Had this happened, an apparently insurmountable obstacle would have been removed. Hence, I regard the loss of balance as purposive, since it replaces a defective consciousness by the automatic and instinctive activity of the unconscious, which is aiming all the time at the creation of a new balance and will moreover achieve this aim, provided that the conscious mind is capable of assimilating the contents produced by the unconscious, i.e. of understanding and digesting them. If the unconscious simply rides roughshod over the conscious mind, a psychotic condition develops. If it can neither completely prevail nor yet be understood, the result is a conflict that cripples all further advance. But with this question, namely the understanding of the collective unconscious, we come to a formidable difficulty, which I have made the theme of my next chapter. 4. Negative attempts to free the individuality from the collective psyche. A. Regressive restoration of the persona. The collapse of the conscious attitude is no small matter. It always feels like the end of the world, as though everything had tumbled back into original chaos. One feels delivered up, disoriented, like a rudderless ship that is abandoned to the moods of the elements. So at least it seems. In reality, however, one has fallen back up upon the collective unconscious, which now takes over the leadership. We could multiply examples of cases where, at the critical moment, a saving thought, a vision, an inner voice, came with an irresistible power of conviction and gave life a new direction. Probably we could mention just as many cases where the collapse meant a catastrophe that destroyed life. For at such moments, morbid ideas are also liable to take root, or ideals wither away, which is no less disastrous. In the one case, some psychic oddity develops, or a psychosis. In the other, a state of disorientation and demoralization. But once the unconscious contents break through into consciousness, filling it with their uncanny power of conviction, the question arises of how the individual will react. Will he be overpowered by these contents? Will he credulously accept them, or will he reject them? I am disregarding the ideal reaction, namely critical understanding. The first case signifies paranoia or schizophrenia. The second may either become an eccentric with a taste for prophecy, or he may revert to an infantile attitude and be cut off from the human society. The third signifies the regressive restoration of the persona. This formulation sounds very technical, and the reader may justifiably suppose that it has something to do with a complicated psychic reaction, such as can be observed in the course of analytical treatment. It would, however, be a mistake to think that cases of this kind make their appearance only in analytical treatment. The process can be observed just as well, and often better, in other situations of life, namely all those careers where there has been some violent and destructive intervention of fate. Everyone, presumably, has suffered adverse turns of fortune, but mostly they are wounds that heal and leave no crippling mark. But here we are concerned with experiences that are destructive, that can smash a man completely, or at least cripple him for good. Let us take as an example a businessman who takes too great a risk and consequently becomes bankrupt. If he does not allow himself to be discouraged by this depressing experience, but undismayed, keeps his former daring, perhaps with a little salutary caution added, his wound will be healed without permanent injury. But if, on the other hand, he goes to pieces, abjures all further risks, and laboriously tries to patch up his social reputation within the confines of a much more limited personality, doing inferior work with the mentality of a scared child, in a post far below him, then, technically speaking, he will have restored his persona in a regressive way. He will, as a result of his fright, have slipped back to an earlier phase of his personality. He will have demeaned himself, pretended that he is as he was before the crucial experience, though utterly unable even to think of repeating such a risk. Formerly, perhaps he wanted more than he could accomplish. Now he does not even dare to attempt what he has in him to do. Such experiences occur in every walk of life, and in every possible form, hence in physiological treatment also. Here, again, it is a question of lightening the personality, of taking a risk on one's circumstance, or on one's nature. What the critical experience is, in actual treatment, can be seen from the case of our philosophy student. It is the transference. As I have already indicated, it is possible for the patient to slip over the reef of the transference unconsciously, in which case it does not become an experience, and nothing fundamental happens. The doctor, for the sake of mere convenience, might well wish for such patients. But if they are intelligent, the patients soon discover the existence of this problem for themselves. If then the doctor, as in the case above, is exalted into the father-lover, and consequently has a flood of demands let loose against him, He must perforce think out ways and means of parrying the onslaught, without himself getting drawn into the maelstrom, and without injury to the patient. A violent rupture of the transference may bring on a complete relapse, or worse, so the problem must be handled with great tact and foresight. Another possibility is the pious hope that in time the nonsense will stop of its own accord. Certainly everything stops in time, but it may be an unconscionably long time. And the difficulties may be so unbearable for both sides that one might as well give up the idea of time as a healing factor at once. A far better instrument for combating the transference would seem to be offered by the Freudian theory of neurosis. The dependence of the patient is explained as an infantile sexual demand that takes the place of a rational application of sexuality. Similar advantages are offered by the Adlerian theory, which explains the transference as an infantile power aim and as a security measure. Both theories fit the neurotic mentality so neatly that every case of neurosis can be explained by both theories at once. This highly remarkable fact, which any unprejudiced observer is bound to corroborate, can only rest on the circumstance that Freud's infantile eroticism and Adler's power drive are one and the same thing, regardless of the clash of opinions between the two schools. It is simply a fragment of uncontrolled and at first uncontrollable primordial instinct that comes to light in the phenomenon of transference. The archaic fantasy forms that gradually reach the surface of consciousness are only a further proof of this. We can try both theories to make the patient see how infantile, impossible, and absurd his demands are, and perhaps in the end he will actually come to his senses again. My patient, however, was not the only one who did not do this. True enough, the doctor can always save his face with these theories and extricate himself from a painful situation more or less humanely. There are indeed patients with whom it is, or seems to be, unrewarding to go to greater lengths, but there are also cases where these procedures cause senseless psychic injury. In the case of my student, I dimly felt something of the sort, and I therefore abandoned my rationalistic attempts in order, with ill-concealed mistrust, to give nature a chance to correct what seemed to me to be her own foolishness. As already mentioned, this taught me something extraordinarily important, namely the existence of an unconscious self-regulation. Not only can the unconscious wish, it can also cancel its own wishes. This realization, of such immense importance for the integrity of the personality, must remain sealed to anyone who cannot get over the idea that it is simply a question of infantilism. He will turn round on the threshold of this realization and tell himself, it was all nonsense, of course. I'm a crazy visionary. The best thing to do would be to bury the unconscious or throw it overboard with all its works. The meaning and purpose
and attack other civilians. And you can understand that craziness, although you can't legitimize it. When it comes to a group of crazies, it's a little bit more sinister. When it comes to an entire nation of crazies, now that's the worst type of terror you can have. That's definitely evil. Would you not concur? Let's put it in context.
Are you like talking about oppression? Because oppression happens in a very stealthy way.
Terrorism, as Muslims, we need to be honest. And so we need to be honest witnesses. So when we're talking about a subject, we can't just talk about it just to suit our favor and interest. We need to bring the whole thing out. So in that light, we have lots of terrorists around the planet. And the biggest terrorist of all, that...
He's back.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I swiped myself by mistake. So the biggest terrorists actually get away with it. The biggest of all, criminals. They want to corner the discussion.
But they're oppressors. Like, terrorists are the ones who are like surprise. Like, they do surprising things, right? People that it was expected. But these oppressors, they have a methodology. They have a plan.
No. There's no oppressors. We can't use different terminologies. This is the biggest nonsense of the lot. I try to put it in context. So you've got, let's define as such, and if somebody disagrees with the definition, they can obviously correct it. So the deliberate targeting of civilians. Yeah, in war, lots of things happen between soldiers, even crimes. But when it comes to civilian populations, to achieve whether it's a religious so-called agenda, political agenda, or otherwise, and somebody, let's say, quite armed with a weapon or a bomb strapped to their body, that's an unarmed person, incidentally, and they go off and target the civilian population to achieve this so-called religious, political, or other goal. That is an act of terrorism. We're not talking an act of war now, this is an act of terrorism because you're targeting civilian populations.
Yeah,
have others.
by definition of just again, how you said it.
And this terrorism
attacking civilians.
all madness. But when it comes to one single individual, we cannot understand how one individual can be crazy but must be stopped when they're doing this. And this is called terrorism. Up the stakes a little bit up. Now you've got a group of crazies acting as a group, so-called the terrorist group now, not just an individual. Again, tagging civilians. Now it's becoming evil. Now, can you get a group of crazies to come and unite in one common idea? No, unless they're evil. Now, look at it now in the context of an entire state that's marshalling the resources of that nation to attack civilians, to do the same vile act in a higher scale. What would you call this? Is this craziness? Is this mass craziness, or is this pure and utter evil? It's the same reality. It's not called oppression. It's called terrorism. You're doing still the targeting of civilians. Why are people not calling a spade a spade? What's all the niceties? We can't play politics with this. But is it because the biggest terrorists actually around the planet happen to be nations?
Salaman, salaman. Greetings of peace.
Salam.
Hey guys,
Waalaikum.
salaman. Hey Minuri, peace, peace. How's it going?
Peace,
Everybody
Ravi. Hope you're well.
good? Yeah. I mean, it's not business as usual actually. Like it is. I think I've learned that I've lots of like big download, obviously. So yeah. Infinity life. That's the cool realization. That is there's one death. What day? Number of days dead, one. Number of days alive. Infinity minus one. Day of death. Okay, so I think we need to put things in perspective and just like get cracking. You know, like Nizam or whatever, whoever. Like, just don't even, basically
Yeah, I don't
pick a
believe
lane.
in
You
infinity.
speak with
It's
somebody,
just
no, you basically say,
concept.
pardon me?
I don't believe in infinity. It's a concept. It's not based in reality.
All right, here, let me convince you. Would it be okay for me to do that?
Yeah, well, let's talk about it.
All right. How long? What is the lifespan of a human being?
80 to 110 years.
What does the Furqan say?
It depends if you're talking about God's days or.
Well, I'll tell you. The lifespan of a human being, as identified in the Quran, is between. It's a range between Noah's age and whatever our minimum maximum ages.
Yeah, that's because it's reincarnation, Rahi. So that's.
No. I mean, like just to situate ourselves, I'm in the Gregorian 2020 like model for the year. Like it conforms with the 12 months stipulation in the Quran. So we have 12 months. The Gregorian model, the Julian model. There's like what are these Hijri models, the lunar stuff. Like these guys are mixing. Like so the Quran says. Anyway, there are basically infinity days ahead of us. And there's only one day of death. And it's great to basically, I mean, our life is capped off at 100 years, basically, ish, even. And for those of you who are consistent with Surah At-Tawbah, ayat number 111, let me just put the URL in the link. I mean, in the chat. Just give me a minute. So just take a second.
Maddie, stop.
This one is.
What? That didn't do anything.
Maddie, no gifts.
There you got it. All right, here we go. As follows. So here, open this published link. Copy that. Go here.
Sorry, where is this discussion going? I don't know.
Which are proving that there's infinity beyond.
Yeah, I know, but right.
Yes,
There was a discussion.
I
I
don't
to do with the title, to do with the.
I'm not convinced that we have
Sorry,
a
what
different
now?
number.
What, Mahdi, you're always like jumbling, rumbling. Like,
No, not jumbling at all, no rumbling. We were talking about a couple of issues, and I don't know where the discussion is heading now.
Okay, I just want to show Surah 9:111. Okay, just mark this, please. Give me a second.
And so it shows.
Hold on, guys. Please, patience, sabr, guys. Just honestly.
No, I'm asking. So what it shows is that we have an infinite number of days ahead of us.
Isn't that what the concept is, my brother? Have a look. Can you please just click that URL and let's just read it together.
No, No, okay, I understand that.
No. Do you not understand it? Read
Well,
it.
just
Just
put it
put
right
the link
in
there. Just
the-
read it in English. Somebody
That's
somebody
if you
volunteer to read it
believe-
for me, please.
You already believe in like an afterlife or something like that.
You don't have any yukinun about the akhirah?
I'm not so sure.
Who's the speaking? CM?
Me, yeah.
Please identify yourself. Are you a bashar or an insan? Please confirm.
I don't even know.
Get out. Eject this idiot.
Okay.
Just carry on.
There's no.
Right, why share
Right.
Let him share.
Pardon my language. I really apologize.
He's a guest.
Stop.
He's a visitor to this room. He's going to be treated with dignity.
Peace. I apologize. Okay. You cannot just put CM here like this. He's laughing. Oh, God.
I'm not
Yes,
laughing at
really,
that,
see?
honestly.
Yeah, okay, Surah Al-Araf, you know? Okay. Mr. CM, do you know anything about Surah Al-Araf?
CM is not specifically a Muslim, maybe.
What is he?
Well,
See, okay, the category is like this. Okay, guys, listen. Logic works like this. Very simple. Let's just toss it in. Domain of discourse. Mahdi, if you're the mod on the top left of my screen, basically, the domain of discourse is the set beyond which no other, like, gobbledygook can go on. Like, that is the boundary. So my domain of discourse is Yasin. That's one entry. Entry number 2 is Insan. Entry number 3 is Bashar. All right, that's it. The conversation has stayed only those 3 categories. Who wants to take me on? Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, that's. Well, we'll see whether people want to discuss these things at the present moment, because there is a title to this.
Oh, the mumbling. I see. Okay. So fine.
No,
I'll stop there.
there is a title.
I'll stop there. No. I don't want a business. That's fine. Go ahead. Carry on, guys. Alaikum assalam. To you be peace from Assalam, the source of.
Alaikum assalam. So the title was said by the owner of the room, that's Dawood. So if you guys want to engage with the title, excellent. Otherwise, you can nominate anyone.
Would it be okay to update the title?
Dawood just put it on. I don't know whether it had fair discussion of it or not. Maybe.
No, Mahdi. I would strongly recommend, urge you, in fact, let's just change it to Mu'min. Just remove the.
Yeah, well,
just make it Mu'min.
Yeah, it depends on the rest of the people on the stage, at least. What they decide to discuss. Maybe they want to take the conversation somewhere else.
Boy.
So I cannot dictate how they.
Why can't you make a decision, Mahdi? Oh my.
No, because I'm just
Okay, let's reset the room.
Listen, man.
Mehdi wants
So
to
Dawood
reset
said the
room.
title.
Yeah,
No,
what
Dawood
is the
said the
Muslim?
title.
No,
Mehdi beginning
listen,
with
Mahdi.
you.
Like
It's okay, let's just reset the room.
I'm not coercing anybody to do anything. Just understand that. I'm requesting humbly, as an old trusted friend of lots of people, please update the title from Muslim to Mu'min. Would you do that for me as a kind gesture? Thank you.
I could, once the others in the stage agree to it, maybe they want to take the conversation in a different direction.
Is there a
I
difference?
plead
Mehdi,
Illa
what's
an
the
yasha
difference?
Allah from 1824.
Mehdi,
Go
what's
ahead.
the resistance to this? Like, what's the
There's no
difference?
resistance, but it's just that we've got now 7 people on stage. If I could see that correctly, I have to.
Well, no one else is speaking up, and I think everyone's okay
Yeah,
with
so
the silence.
if
is
the others,
golden.
so we've got Optimist, we've got L, we've got CM, we've got Preet, and we've got
But
Rahim.
maybe, is there a
Myself,
difference
yeah.
between a Muslim and a mu'min? That doesn't
No,
make sense?
well, you could.
That we
you could
need,
discuss
like,
that. You
we
could-
need everybody chime in.
That's what I would like to do.
But maybe others on stage, because we've got guests who are not necessarily believers or Muslim, maybe they want to ask some questions about Islam. Maybe they want to even criticize Islam, maybe objectively, if they have criticisms.
Okay, criticism is open, everyone. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead
so
and
if you
criticize.
want to
us.
criticize or
You
you want to
spot the
complain
devil
or-
and then just take him out.
Yeah, we'll
Mahdi,
see.
unfortunately, you're carrying the devil badge at the moment for me, in my tracker at least.
But I'm not trying to do this. Right?
I know, you better pass it on to a real devil, okay?
Yeah,
You get
so
out
the
of the
room
way.
owner, that's Dawood. He actually said the title of this room.
Well, it says philosophy on the top right of mine, and then
Yeah, and then-
Islamic, whatever Islamic means, let's go there, go.
I said, what is a Muslim, if I can see it correctly?
No, I'm looking at the rubric on the top, and it says Islamic on the top left of my screen. I don't know about yours, Mahdi, you bet.
Yeah, well, maybe not now. Maybe later.
But doesn't Muslim mean one who defers to God?
Okay, so any other takers?
Yeah, in my opinion, Islam means peace, and someone who's Muslim is somebody who is in peace. And specifically, at peace with God.
Yeah. So does
I
anyone
think-
comment?
I had heard that Islam was, I think, the submission to the will of God or something like that.
That's what they do, but what does it mean?
What does that mean? That would have huge implications. So somebody not only recognizes.
Yeah,
that-
I mean, I don't know if there's one answer. I'm pretty sure most Muslims decide that for themselves.
Mahdi, the only escape route for you, dude, I'm telling you right now, is Surah Al-Araf. And like, if you're really already there, then nights, we're all racing to the Jannah there. But then, yeah, that's the only, I don't know how.
Yeah, but
I
right.
hope
Then
Allah
again,
could save you,
you
but
have to take into consideration the people on stage and the people in the room.
whatever, man. There's no,
Yeah, if
don't
you
even
want
tolerate
to.
any bullshit. Like, if you see a devil, you just cut him. Fuck him off. I mean, sorry, pardon the language.
I don't see devils.
What is about
Not everybody has to be cognitive of who's on stage and who's in the audience. It's called
he uses some good words. He taught me ma'ana today, which is like the trust, okay? That was like very, very valuable drop.
MashaAllah, Mandy, MashaAllah.
So he dropped it at the right time and everything. It was really good. So, Nuri, here's one follow-up link for you and others really on the screen. I mean, on the page. To please check this one out. I think you guys will have a blast, really. Just hit the URL on the bottom. You'll see. If you don't mind, may I read it? All right. Alaikum assalam. To you be peace from the source of peace. I'm going to recite Surah 91, English translation. And I seek refuge with Allah from the whispers of the shaitan, etc., and all the devils and everything. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Okay, so it says, with the name of Allah Rahman Rahim, and the sun and her morning. The entire surah has this feminine aspect, which is interesting for those of you who are not, up to speed on the Quran. And I don't know if judgment is upon us or not, kind of thing. I'm like at that edge, kind of thing. So, and the sun and her morning, and the moon when revolves around her, and the day when glorifies her, and the night when it covers her, and the heaven or samawat, I wonder, and what constructed her, and the earth and what levels her, a soul and what shaped her. Like, in Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 1, it's a soul is like her.
Yeah, so just because the word is feminine, it doesn't necessarily mean female.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's sort of like a feminine energy
to it. It's the one that produces or brings life and creates something. Like, these are what the feminine does versus the male who provides or injects or brings.
I clicked on the link and they're specifically talking about like Mother Earth, so they mean it in that sense.
What about the sun?
I'm talking about parts where they keep talking about her and her and her. Eventually they say who her is and they say Mother Earth.
No, buddy. I mean, it says, okay, the ayat that I read, is 91:6. Do you have access to it by any chance?
Yeah, I'm looking at 91:6.
Yeah, would you be able to read it for me, like your copy?
Exactly, that's the part that I'm talking about. They're talking about and the earth and what levels her. Her as the earth.
All right, great. And the soul and what shaped her, but brought her wickedness and her piousness, has prospered one who purifies her, and has lost one who buries her, falsified Thamud and with her transgression, behold, brought out her splitting, but said to them, messenger of Allah, Nakhata, of the god, and slake her. That one I need clarification, if very honestly, I don't know what that entirely means. Maybe it's like killing of the camel or something that happened in one of those, but they falsified him, but they cut her, so destroyed over them their Lord with their crimes, but shaped her, and not he fears end of her. Allah. Salamun. I will catch you guys in a minute.
Okay, thank you, Rahi. That was really insightful.
My pleasure.
Mandy, did you want to reset the room?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm just waiting for some direction.
Uber?
It's where you want to take the conversation.
We keep talking about what is a Muslim. I mean, there's lots of interest in this room about what is a Muslim, so I provided my comments. Anybody else would like to provide their comment?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I believe, like a true Muslim, for example, who believe in the original culture, they, are brought up in the way, obviously, whatever they follow. Because everyone has different beliefs. Like, I'm a Sikh, okay, so I have my different beliefs. But what I would say a true Muslim is someone who follows as per their Prophet Muhammad and towards Allah in all good deeds. Because I don't think anywhere in Quran or any of the, holy books, it says to to kill someone, or you'll get Jannah or jihad if you do certain things and cause disruption. It's just being devoted to a God and do it your way and do good deeds. That's all.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
pretty empowering of hearing a Sikh say these things. I think that's really beautiful, and I think it's important to highlight that.
Yeah, I think everyone should think this way because we can't judge. This is why they say never judge a book by its cover. So what happened is, for example, we were talking about terrorists before, right? And you said a beautiful thing where you said it's not a Muslim who's a terrorist; it's a person who's a terrorist, right? Now, it's unfortunate that the person who did something, his name is related to something. He could be a Singh, so we classify him as a Sikh. He could be a Muslim, so we classify him as a Muslim. He could be a Christian. So what happens is we start to think like, okay, everyone's same. But then our judgment is wrong there. So we need to be smart about and grow up into this, that people do stuff which are not, right. But then it doesn't mean it's the culture or the religion that's asked them to do it. It's just some stupid people. And for example, this terrorist act, it's for no one's use. It's for people who even brainwash people, right? It's for their own personal gain. So no one's there. It's not for like a country's gain. It's for their own personal gain.
Yeah, but the sad thing when it comes to Islam, it seems like there's like a global conspiracy by some to relegate the entire subject of terrorism just to Islam and Muslims, which is a bit strange, actually.
Yeah, because I think the fact about this is because unfortunately, most of the terrorist attacks which has happened, it's been in this era. For example, 90s and in this decade we are living in, it's been by the people who were with that religion. And unfortunately, we are so stupid to believe because we don't understand these are the people who did it. This is an individual who's done it. But we, because of their religion, we classify them, the Islam or Muslims that do this. But we need to grow up into this. Yeah. And if we don't do it, we can't blame anyone else for that,
And that's a really good point. Like, it's this era because we had, the Christian Crusades that attributed a lot of terrorism to their surrounding bordering countries. So I think that's really, really cool that you recognize that.
Yeah, but if we're really being honest, in this era, if we took the real holistic picture overview, no bias, yeah? We're all human beings, and we should all be equally vigilant towards these kind of obnoxious crimes. Doesn't matter who's doing it, whether it's our own family or somebody else. So if we were to be objective and be consistent and not hypocrites, we need to stand back and ask ourselves, what is this thing? And I tried to define it earlier, without any bias. Sadly, some of the establishments around the planet have chosen deliberately not to define this word terrorism.
Maddie, can you please pay attention to who's in the room and who's on stage? Because I think what you're trying to talk about is a conspiracy theory. I think what you're getting into is conspiratory, so I would just keep it simple, Maddie.
No, it's being very simple. Simple doesn't mean terrorism equals Islam. That's not being simple. That's a deception. To argue even in our times.
But no one's saying that.
No, I know. In our times, even recent times, there's been lots of terrorism. Sadly, lots. Millions have lost their lives, and it wasn't by the so-called the crazies who just trapped it. But all terrorism should be condemned equally. Actually, not maybe so equal, but all of it needs to be condemned because, as I highlighted earlier, there's a terrorism that emanates from madness and has to be stopped. There's a terrorism that emanates from evil, and that needs to be
Would you
stopped too.
consider it also emanates from like books and legislation?
Yeah, if this is the case, we need to identify and target. But this idea now, not just talk about terrorism in the paradigm of Islam or Muslim. This is an outrageous deception. There's terrorism happening right now. All you need to do is open your TV screen. And it's happening in a vile scale.
Like a lot of
no, it's not. It's not like.
School shootings are terror, and they're usually
there are
done by
kids being shot
non-white
today.
men.
There are women being shot today. There are men being shot today. They are killed through some of the most graphic types of weapons out there. And actually, this is the worst type of terrorism you could see. When it's an entire group of crazies, pure evil.
Yeah, the U.S. school shootings, right? It's usually young.
Not just the U.S. I'm talking about. You know, Nouri, you need to be a little bit. You know, if you took any of the last couple of decades that we lived in, just that year, that particular decade, 10 years.
I'm just trying to bring up points that people can relate to.
Yeah, I'm making a point too, Nouri. I'm making a point too. As a Muslim, I need to be honest. I can't lie. Even if it's my parents are doing it, I cannot lie. So if you take any particular decade and look at the number of murders, killings around the planet, and you count it all the way from street hoodlums upwards, you're looking at probably about all the murders committed around the planet reported in that decade, about only 10% of them were actually done through so-called street hoodlums, so-called individual terrorists, and so on. Actually, guess what? 90% of the murders have been committed by countries, states. I did say states.
Yeah, it's at the higher level
No,
of legislation.
What do you mean legislation? Forget about legislation. Anybody could make legislation.
Why are you saying?
Why are you being so defensive? Why would we have
I'm
to lie about
not
this?
agreeing with
People
you.
lie. You don't have to agree with me. If you disagree with me, you could correct me. But if you're telling me that a crime committed by an individual is condemnable, but the same crime committed by a country is not condemnable, really? What kind of double standards is this?
Mehdi, I agree with you. Like, I agree that there's like higher levels of corruption that people don't necessarily see. Like they see it at the individual level. I agree with you on that fact. But yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think we're all on the same page here.
Yeah, and it's just sad because I've always felt all crimes against, especially civilian populations, against any human being, it's a crime. And we're all one human family, and we all come from the same essence. And these double standards is what leads to the so-called evilness. Sadly. So
Can you invite Hamza? He wants to explain what a Muslim is. I think he's got some good points.
Okay, Hamza, I don't see hands raised, but I'll invite every Hamza that I can see. Is there another Hamza? I invited one. I only see one Hamza. Okay, so there's another person. Okay, yeah, maybe I need some help, moderation.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
That's so cool, pretty.
So when a Muslim says Assalamu alaikum and walaikum assalam, like what is that in English? Because I would say that probably defines a Muslim, right?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like Islam, Salam, Muslim, these are all derivatives of the word peace. So when they say Salam alaikum, it's a peace to you, and the return is wa alaikum assalam, which is peace be to you too.
Oh my gosh, so maybe Islam and Muslims, maybe it has to do with peace, not war.
Oh my God. And that's what we're trying to do, is establish peace in this room, right? So let's not talk about like war, but Hamza, go ahead. Hamza, you're on mute. We can't hear you. Khadija finds this funny. Like, she thinks it's funny when we say that Muslims are peaceful. She thinks it's pretty funny.
It shouldn't be classified as being funny. I think it's good because they are peaceful. It's just some people. You need to understand, for example, where I come from, I'm from India, right? So we've got loads of Muslims there, right? And we've always been brought up in very diverse culture. There's Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, for example, right? We've never had a problem where we look upon each other in a different way. We go to each other's houses, we celebrate each other's, like festivals. Like we'll celebrate Eid, they'll celebrate the Holi, we'll celebrate Christmas, everything. And in just some places where people think or say, they need to have a kind of majority because it's good for their religion, it's bullshit. Because the Quran, obviously, it was, I think, a scripted Arabic, right? Now, most of the transcript of that in different countries, it's always translated. And you need to understand, when it's translated, this is why what the gurus come in between. When we ask who the gurus are people who convert and explain the meaning of the real thing. Now, imagine there's a person who people believe in, and he's, translating it in a very different way. People are going to believe him because they don't have their own brains. They don't understand that you need to understand the thing yourself and try to make sense out of it. But we just are foolish and we just follow people. Like, for example, imagine when you were a little kid, maybe when you were in 10th grade or whatever, you had your friends, and some might be naughty and all that, and then you had a best friend who wanted to do something, and you not thinking about what's going to happen, you just follow them. It happens, isn't it? We do that. And this is why all these things, for example, the attacks and everything, it happens. The people who do it, they're below 40 years of age because they just follow other people, what they say. They don't use their brain and try to understand the thing. That's a fact. There's 70% of the crimes committed by the people of the age below 40 years of age.
It's interesting that you brought that age 40 because it's also mentioned in the Quran. Like, there's some significance about the age of 40 that people reach a spiritual maturity.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because when you're in your 40s, there are some people.
Yeah, but what about Muhammad?
30s,
Muhammad he was trying to overthrow Christianity.
Does it say somewhere he was trying to do that?
Where did you get that, man? Where did you get that from? Honestly.
It was a war. What is the actual history of Muhammad? What's his real history? Like, how many people did he fight? How many people did he kill? Like, what did he?
Who were charging? Listen, the rabbis started charging people to go to synagogues and worship the Lord. So he was trying to fix that because religion should be free. Like, he wasn't trying to overthrow the Christians. Like, that's not true, bro.
Mimi, have you actually?
I'm saying the Romans.
I'm not trying to.
The Romans became the Christians, and thus it was not just a religious war; it was a civilizational war.
No, it's spiritual war. People were charging money to worship God and get their offerings. Like, it was becoming a business, and religion.
So it was a war against the business.
Yeah, the rabbis, they had a big, I don't know what happened, but I would.
It was so a new business came in to compete with the old business, is what you're saying.
Maybe I think we're crossing. Maybe you made an interesting charge, but maybe let's try to examine whether it's true or not. First of all, where did you get this charge from? That Muhammad was a man trying to convert Christians.
I'm just saying, what is the history? Like, how many battles? Like, what are the years? What are the battles? And then what was the successive dynasty? Because Muhammad created a dynasty.
Okay, so but before we answer that question, could you tell us what do you think is that history? Tell us, and where do you get it from?
I don't know. I saw the movie about Muhammad. It was called The Prophet.
Which movie is this? Sorry.
It's like the only authorized version ever made of Muhammad.
You're talking about the Risala. The Risala, I think that was made in the 1970s or so with.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you tell from that movie?
I don't know. It was like a shadow person, meaning like it was like a holy person, you know, because they never showed Muhammad. They just had that actor what's from Lawrence of Arabia. So there's like a mysticism, meaning like Muhammad wasn't just a warrior; he was like a wizard.
Do you think that was being depicted in the movie that Muhammad was a warrior in that movie?
Yeah, it was very much like Lawrence of Arabia. They were engaged in conquest and battles.
Lawrence of Arabia was a very different movie. That was a movie about struggle of empires and so-called realpolitik.
I know, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing as Muhammad. It's a story of a prophet and a warlord with magic powers who conquered part of the world. And to this day, there's 1 billion people who worship the memory of Muhammad and his conquest.
I don't know which that billion. There must be out in space, but I haven't seen them. There's actually 2 billion Muslims. Well, you know, by the way, that's 1 in 4 human beings is a Muslim. That's a quarter of humanity. Yeah. So not 1 billion, 2 billion. And these 2 billion Muslims, I haven't seen anyone worship Muhammad, incidentally. I've seen some cults, I've seen some sects, but I haven't seen anyone formally worship the Prophet Muhammad. I haven't seen that.
Well, then what is a Muslim?
Yeah, it's somebody who submits out. This is just a classical definition. Somebody who submits to the will of their maker. That's a Muslim. Now, that instruction, if you actually ever read the Quran prohibits things like warmongering. If you actually read it, so I'll tell you what the 2 most overarching rules of conduct in war in the Quran. So one of them is to do with self-defense. Let me read it to you. So fight in the cause of Allah. Listen carefully. It sounds a bit scary at the beginning. Fight in the cause. This is just one single verse. You find it in chapter 2, verse 191. So fight in the cause of Allah. Those who fight you, but do not aggress, because Allah doesn't love the aggressors. So this is a rule. You just.
Yeah, but what? But Noria said it's the new business taking over the old business.
Brother, it's nothing to do with business. Listen to the verse. It doesn't mention anything about business. I don't know where you're getting business from. It's quite simple, isn't it?
No, Nori said that it became a business. They were selling.
That's what you said. No, that's what you said. All I said was that there was rabbis who were charging people.
Yeah, rabbis were charging for God. And so a new God business came in and said, hey, you guys are doing too much business. We got a better business. It's now our turn to take over the God business.
Brother, there is nobody who can take over the God business. There's no for sale or for stocks or shares. There's no such thing as a God business.
I know, but if you want to participate in my God business, you got to pay me.
But what business? No, he took the business away. There's no business. No business.
Oh, so he took away the business.
Do you watch a movie and be like, oh, wow, this is like completely factual and this must be so... You're getting your information from a 1970s movie.
It's the only authorized version of Muhammad ever made.
But you're relying on a movie to form...
Are you saying it's not an accurate film? Because historically it had to get approved by the Islamic scholars at the time.
I'm not sure about that, but if you...
You should Google it and read the story about the movie and how significant it is in terms of Islam and Muhammad.
Okay, sure.
But if you think about it, when we talk that it becomes a business, we need to understand one thing. For example, like when we go to a dargah, right? Or you go to a temple or something, or you go to a church. Sometimes people take candles in church, people would take a chadar in the dargah, and people would bring some money in when they go to a gurdwara, for example. They do it because they want to do it, but it's just we have misinterpreted that we have to do it because God wants us to do this. So if people say that, that's wrong. But people do it because they want to do it. So it's not a business, it's just people's belief. And no one's belief is wrong.
Yeah, it's not this question of people wanting to do. I mean, there are certain things we can't be indifferent on. So let's assume you were standing there, let's say in the Civil War or any other war, and there's, let's say it's a monstrous organization. Because usually the monstrous organization...
Why are we doing war again, Mandy? What are you doing?
I'm just highlighting a reality about indifference. So when people sometimes feel compelled to act. So if you were, say, around Nazi Germany and you saw lots of the Nazis raping, pillaging, Gypsies, Slavs, what have you, Jews, and so on. Well, you could take 3 positions. One, you could take an indifferent position, just ignore it. So they're not targeting me, so I'll just ignore it. Or 2, you could commend it, participate, applaud it, or take a negative reaction towards it and oppose it. You're going to have to choose one of these 3 positions. Now, whether you're an atheist, theist, or otherwise, you're going to make a choice. You will definitely make a choice, even if you just turn a blind eye. That's making a choice. You're becoming different.
I know. So you want me to accept your monopoly of Islam?
Brother, Islam doesn't need anyone. What do you mean? Whoever said this?
It's a business. It's a competing business.
Yeah,
Competing in what? Competing for what?
But here's the thing: people like sacred spaces to practice spirituality because it gives them like an ability to.
What are they talking about? Competing in business? Competing for what?
Because Nouri said that the Jews were selling God, and so the Muslims came in and said, "You can't sell God. God's free."
The Jews weren't really selling God. They weren't selling God. They were not.
No, but what's wrong?
No, Nouri says the rabbis were selling God, and the Muslims came in and said, "You can't do
I didn't
that."
say they were selling God. I said they were selling acts of worship. Like, bro, like, calm down. Like, we're not gonna play your games, okay? Your meme games, memes.
You're the one playing games talking about Jews and rabbis.
Oh, you don't like the Jews either, eh?
Are you a fucking racist bigot? Are you low IQ stupid?
Maybe no F words in the stage. You could criticize people, challenge them, but don't
Manny,
criticize them.
are you gonna let him talk to me like that? Come on, drop him.
Yeah, so I'm just giving you a warning.
Drop him.
Yeah, so maybe the brother doesn't understand what's going on. So in this room you can express your ideas, but you don't have to.
It's not about what's going on. He called me names, Manny.
I think that was just some people sometimes just have a figure of speech, but I hope
No,
he didn't.
he's civilized. He knows better. Like, he came from North America. He's a U.S. citizen, obviously.
You're the one who said the Jews were selling access to God, so the Muslims came in and took over their business. That's what you said.
He's called me names, Manny. Please, come on.
You're the one talking shit about rabbis.
Come on, again, the S word. Okay, well, maybe that wasn't offensive to a particular person.
Are you racist? Like, are you defending the Jews? Are you like problem with the Jews? Like why are you so offended about this? I mean,
Because you're making an all or nothing claim, and you're full of shit.
Well, no, I'm not. Like, I mean, Jesus even overturned, tables and chairs because he didn't like what the Jews rabbis were doing. So it's not just Muhammad; it's Jesus as well.
So you got the updated version of the software, is what you're saying.
I think it's interesting how you like to tell me who I am, what I say.
You're making an all or nothing claim.
I'm pretty sure I saw in a movie that Jesus overturned tables, so I'm pretty sure it's factual.
So what did he do? He just flipped tables over and said, "I'm flipping your tables. What's all this about? You guys can't sell me. You can't sell me. I'm free. I'm free. You can't sell access to
I saw
me."
Jesus in a movie do that, so bless Jesus. Peace be upon Jesus.
Well, I'm so glad you know everything. You're such a smart woman. You obviously know the truth about everything. And we should all listen to your opinion because you're such a learned, well-educated person who knows everything. Okay, whatever you say, Nouri, just tell me everything I should believe now because I know you're a genius.
Why are you screaming at a woman? Like, I don't understand.
A woman? You're going to use your gender now to defend your weak position because you don't have any evidence to suggest what you're saying is true? Go ahead, tell me about how I'm mansplaining to a woman. Okay, woman.
I don't appreciate being screamed.
Okay, woman.
You informed your information, like your thoughts and reality on a movie. That's who you are.
Okay, woman. You don't want to talk shit about rabbis.
And this is coming from a civilized nation. This is who you're representing. The great America.
You do realize women also have the potential to be evil, right? I mean, within you, you're not like all good, right? Everybody has like a dosage of being a bad
Yeah,
person.
I'm not the one screaming.
I know, but you're also the one asserting that you're the smartest person in the world. Apparently, everybody should believe what you believe.
Should we talk about equal rights, record? Should we remove the
Yeah, I
conversation?
definitely believe men and women can be equally good or equally bad. Definitely.
Yeah, women can oppress men, and women can be abusers of men.
Just whatever men can do, women can do. I promise you that.
Yeah, so maybe that's your problem. Maybe you've been scolded by a woman, and that's why you can't stand when women speak to you.
I don't think so. I'm just here playing devil's advocate, yin to your yang. I got to tell you, you think you know a lot, but in my opinion and my estimation, you're over evaluating your own intelligence. I think you're a very narcissistic, egotistical person who thinks that, because you're a woman, you know the truth about everything, apparently.
I'm glad that you said you changed your mind from that. It's fact.
What does the Quran say about women and men? Did women come out of men? What does the Bible say? What did Adam and Eve? Did a woman come out of a man?
Bro, I'm glad you changed your
Brah.
mind. Okay?
Brah.
Yeah, you're so beta.
You're so alpha, Nori.
Thank you.
I mean, maybe you should go to Gaza and fight with the Palestinians since you support that form of Islam.
Yeah, if somebody pays my ticket and gives me some, I'll do it.
Well, you're willing to become a terrorist. Amazing.
Wait, maybe. What do you think of that since you mentioned it? So you think the Palestinians are terrorists or the victims of terrorism?
You mean the people holding hostages with AK-47s? I'd call them terrorists.
So people holding hostages will be terrorists. Is that the case? Do you know how many hostages are held by Israel?
I don't know. I'm talking about Gaza and the terrorists that are holding hostages in Gaza.
So you need some elocution lessons too. Now, going back to the question. So do you believe that people who hold hostages, by definition, are terrorists? Yeah. In which case, you just define the state of Israel to be a terrorist nation, because they're holding probably about 100 times more hostages than so-called Hamas terrorists. As you
No, they're just defending themselves. When they do the exact same thing, it's completely all right.
Yeah, which is a bit strange.
Yeah, I thought Islam stood for peace. I'm just saying, why did they attack on October 7th if Islam's all about peace?
What channel did you watch to get your information from?
Al Jazeera.
It's Al Jazeera.
Oh, I thought it was... Sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, you're a pervert.
You're the one thinking dirty thoughts, calling me a pervert. If Islam stands for peace, why don't the terrorists in Gaza release the hostages and say, we're now a peace movement?
So would you say that to the other side? Why don't the terrorists on the other side release the hostages that have been kidnapping for almost 100 years, men, women, and children, incidentally, and the droves, thousands upon thousands? Why don't they release them?
Mandy, do you
They
remember
are releasing them by the thousands for hostages.
A profit organization called the 30-Hour Famine, and that there was a Christian organization who would only give food if people converted, so they would just let people starve if they didn't convert. Do you remember that organization?
Actually, I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, it was a Christian organization that was, trying to convert.
Doesn't the Quran address that specifically? Like, you must submit and convert, otherwise you're going to pay the jizya.
Probably, you need some, I don't know, actually, did you graduate from primary school, brother?
Yeah, I'm a doctor.
This guy's trying.
What? Well, a cow doctor or what kind of doctor?
I'm a medical doctor.
That's
There's no way you're a medical doctor.
I'm a psychiatrist. I treat manic depressives. I treat neurotics. I treat bipolars. I treat schizophrenics. I have many Palestinian customers that have mental health disorders, and we're trying to help Palestinians. I'm offering a 50% discount at my clinic if you're Palestinian and you have PTSD and trauma.
Do you you scream at your clients, like your patients, like when you don't?
Do you want to come into my clinic and find out how I'll treat you? Come on in. I'll give you a 50% coupon. Coupon is free Palestine.
Can you also give me an additional 40% discount for my Canadian currency?
Oh, you have socialized medicine up there. In my clinic, we take walk-ins.
You didn't answer my question. Like, will I get an additional 40% off because my currency is so weak?
I'll give you 45% off.
On top of the 50.
Done. Just don't complain on Yelp after you're unsatisfied. Thank you very little.
And who can I report you to once I realize I'm unsatisfied with my treatment?
I don't know. Go to the gym and read a book. When was the last time you went to the gym? I rest my case.
Drop him.
Yeah, maybe we'll give him some counseling before he goes to the audience.
You gotta go to the gym too, Mahdi. You can't conquer the ancient world unless you're fit and physically well.
Why you guys suffer from this? It's Mahdi, it's not Mahdi.
Aren't you the Mahdi, the prophet?
Okay. Anyway, you need some elocution lessons, honestly. We hold those as well.
Daddy,
I'm just so confused. So what is a Muslim now?
Yeah, Maddie. What is a Muslim, Maddie?
I think Memi needs to ask ChatGPT. I think they will probably get more focus there.
I'm just saying, Mahdi now.
You're gonna let him disrespect you like that?
I have to take on the two minor insults like that.
You know, Nori, at first I thought your PTR was a mosquito, but now I realize you're just a pawn.
Do you have a job?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm the MC. I'm roasting you. I recently contracted with Mossad through USAID, and I'm here to actually troll potential terrorists like yourself who want to go to Gaza and fight with Hamas.
You sound like you need a falafel skewer up your ass.
It sounds to me like you haven't been to the gym in at least 6 months.
You know, oh my god, this guy's crazy. Maddie, this guy's crazy.
Too much tabbouleh, too much shawarma.
So, can we have a show of hands on stage who wants the famous or infamous Memi in the audience?
See, you guys are all narcissists. Me. Narcissistic, egotistical disorders. Me. Me. Always thinking about me and never the collective we. You're narcissists. Me.
So, Memi, tell us something useful.
Stop thinking and end your problems. The more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. The less of a Muslim you'll become. Meditate on peace instead of your political bullshit.
So what political bullshit are we propagating?
I don't know. Talk to Nora.
It's Nuri, by the way. I know
Oh, Nuri. My bad, Nuri. The pawn. Talk to the pawn.
The doctor who can't read.
She doesn't distribute peace. She's not centered in peace. She's centered in terrorism, war, and diaspora.
Whoa, don't talk about it.
Now you've got Sheikha Nargis. She's going to answer.
Hydran.
Yeah, Nargis, please do something.
دلم برات خیلی تنگ شده.
I don't know why this meme got hit character.
Hi, Adrian. How you doing? Missed you.
Me.
Want me to you another reading of Aleister Crowley?
Free me.
Pretend like you don't know me.
No, I know who you are. I'm just playing around.
What are you doing, man, Adrian?
I'm debating Muslims. What do you mean?
Shut the fuck up.
I'm debating potential terrorists, regime changers, people who live with hate in their heart and want violence against poor innocent Jews so they can free Palestine. Duh.
These are your best debate points?
No, he had a good point. He said that if America is a nation of peace, then why is it going around across the whole globe causing so much pain and war? And nobody really had a good response for him. And so then I asked him if he hated America, and he didn't even. He just went over weird.
I just said me.
Yeah, you can't.
Anytime somebody breaks the law, especially if you kill somebody, that's the worst violation of the law. There's repercussions.
What you mean, America is a Christian nation?
No, I mean October 7th, Gaza's attack on the southern area of Israel when they went into the Supernova Festival and killed 1,200 people. There's repercussions for that.
No. I'm America first. I don't care about it.
Hannibal Directive.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with America?
Just saying, Israel is destroying Gaza and killing the Palestinians because of October 7th. It doesn't have anything to do with America.
Oh, well then get off the stage, man. This is America first.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know that. Your hat's cooler than my hat. I guess you got a bigger hat than I do.
You gotta go, man.
You're not a moderator, Divine Doctor.
No, but the moderators.
Dr. Divine, your hat is horrific. It looks like a woman's hat, a sombrero.
That's not my hat.
Okay, Dr. Divine, tell us something truthful then.
If Islam is a religion of peace and America is a Christian nation, then how come?
Thank God, honestly, thank you, Lord. Greetings of peace to those who deserve peace. And who's this guy? MME, whatever your name is. Listen, dude.
Me.
Listen to me, Mimi. Only be peace from the source of terror. Comprende?
You're gonna give me peace from the source of terror?
Capiche, paisan?
Capiche?
Bet your ass, asshole. Bon voyage. Fuck off.
Bon voyage. This isn't. Oh.
Mehdi, you make no sense.
Nuri, he's here to try to teach you something. He's the Mahdi. You know, you were blaspheming those rabbis, which just means teachers, and Jesus tossed the teachers' tables upside down. Well, maybe Mahdi wants to teach you a lesson, Nuri.
Listen, Mahdi, this is going to be very difficult. I don't know why are you keeping this guy for so long? Anyway, listen to me, Mimi. I apologize. The Quran has a very strict directive about choice of words.
Yeah, you use the F word, Rahi.
And I apologize.
I accept your apology.
No, you're not God.
I accept your apology. You use the F words towards me. Me.
Innani, Anna.
La ilala. My name is Mimi. Exactly, clown house. Dumb mods, Nuri says. You like how she talks about you, Mahdi?
You're embarrassing yourself, bro. Why don't you get out?
You're embarrassing yourself, brah, by telling me that I'm embarrassing myself and that I should get out. You should get out, brah.
Just imagine a webcam is recording you right now, Mimi.
Just imagine that. Imagine.
Yeah, no.
Imagine that. Imagine it. Just imagine that. Look at that. Would you look at that?
Mimi.
Look at that. Imagine that.
All right. So
You haven't answered. What is a Muslim, Rahi? What is a Muslim?
the hearing. Do you have the faculty, Mimi?
I'm asking you a question. What is a Muslim? If you don't want to answer it because you don't know, that's okay. I can Google it for you if you want.
Ask. It's ask.
I'm asking a question, Rahi.
No, you're
What
not.
is a Muslim, Rahi? I'm asking you a question, and you can't answer it, can you?
The seeing, Mimi. The seeing. Do you know what that? Like, translate for me. The seeing. Just translate that for me.
I asked you first, what is a Muslim, and you can't answer it.
Would you like to know what a mu'min is?
Is that like a cookie you drink with a shy?
I can lead you to read it.
Okay, go right ahead, Rahi. We'll wait.
What is your preferred delivery? Would you like URL or like?
I'm gonna take a break from answering any more questions that you might ask me, so I'm gonna pause here.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, guys, it's like Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Yeah, honestly, like I don't know who's gonna get incinerated in this. Okay, Mr. Mimi, just conceive this for a second, okay? There's a hydrogen on one side, oxygen on the other side. Okay? When the twain combine, it becomes clear water. Okay? But those two elements are combustible. So, you know, I don't know, put them together, like the fire is.
As I said, I'm taking a pause and a break from answering any questions you might ask me, but I asked you a question, what is a Muslim? And you couldn't tell me the answer. So thank you very little, Dr.
Okay,
Rahi.
you have to take over, please. Just reset. I don't know what.
What do you want him to ask you?
I'm really addicted to the title of the room has not been updated, really, honestly. These guys should change the title. Islamic philosophy, but just add movement. Why are they restricted?
I have to change the title.
You can't even answer the question. What is a Muslim?
I have to change the title.
The title, you just have to hit the edit button somewhere on the Clubhouse app and just update the name. Just like movement. What is a movement?
I'm not a mod.
Okay, but would you be able to convince these chaps or anything?
Do you have like, are you suffering from anxiety, Rahi? Let the mods do their job and you do your job.
They're not doing anything. I have to change the title.
Do what? This is what is Muslim for?
Try to answer the question instead of asking questions. What is a Muslim?
What do you want him to ask? What is it that you want him to ask?
He's talking ghetto and stuff. So ridiculous.
Ghetto? I'm just asking a question, Rahi, and you can't answer it.
So violent, like, good lord.
Oh, Adrian, I missed you.
Yeah, he's getting to my nerves. Yeah, and Mahdi, why didn't you update it, dude? Like, you can't just put it in such close quarters with such garbage. These kind of dudes. And, like, others, the varieties, like Nizam, for example, today. That was very sad, too. But anyway, guys, I don't know. Still learning the ropes, but infinity and beyond, I guess, because, like, you've got, like, okay, let's ask Mr. Mimi. Mr. Mimi, how long do you think you're going to live?
It's Mr. Meme.
You can call me Dr. Meme, Dr. Rahi.
No, I'll just say what's on the what I see. Verify what you're seeing. I see M-E-M-E, uppercase M, okay? Me is what I see. You sound like an egotistical dude.
You can call me Dr. Mimi, and you can go to memespodcast.com to see more right now. I'll put it in the chat.
How did you this guy? Adrian, how do you last this long in this room?
Look at Rahi. How does he last this long?
No, how the fuck did you last this long?
What do you mean? Dr. Mahdi and Dr. Optimus Prime, they like what I'm bringing to the table, and I'm helping bring out the truth about what is a Muslim. Look at Rahi. It looks like he just got off of, a cleaning crew on the side of a highway, and he's, wearing I'm a worker jacket or something. I'm an intellectual over here trying to bring some illumination to the Muslim people so they can have more fun being Muslims.
On his way then. Out he goes. Because I'll tell you why. Look at Zabur sample number 1. Like the first psalm. first row, actually, the first, like, right off the bat. Mr. Mimi, would you like to read the first psalm for us?
You can call me Dr. Mimi, Dr. Rahi.
I'm not a doctor yet.
Well, one day you'll get there. But in the meantime, you can call me Dr. Mimi.
No. No way.
Well, are there any other questions I can ask?
I plead the fifth. Mahdi, you take it away and do something with this. No, I can't get it.
Well, you still haven't answered the question. Anybody else in the room want to possibly answer the question? What is a Muslim? Anyone?
Yeah. What do you have for dinner?
I just had some pizza.
You know, Nargis, incidentally, the human life, right, has a battery range, as you know, about inception to about 100 years in today's era, or like 100-year battery charge. Noah's time, it was about 1,000 years or a little less, right? 950 and all. So you've got like 1,000-year measure, basically, for like human lifespan, just as an example. And then number of days dead is 1 day dead. 2 days dead for some, but like for one for the righteous and stuff. That's it. We should, like, and you know, like, it's all these new, that's it. Like, so the goal is, like, once we die, it's like it's just continues, goes on for infinity. So that's like,
Isn't it just infinity now then, Dr. Rahi?
yes, you are in a placeholder within that time frame. Is it not the case?
So Muslims are infinite beings?
Yes.
But what is infinity, Dr. Rahi?
No, Mr. Mimi. Death is simply a singular 24-hour event in the scale of infinity. Picture that for a second.
Wow.
Adrian, are doing more recordings.
You just blew my mind, Dr. Rahi.
He's something else. Yeah.
So what you're trying to say, Dr. Rahi, is that we only live for 2.4 seconds in infinity now and beyond.
Death is referred to simply as a taste in the Quran. That's about it.
Can you touch it or sniff it without tasting it?
You can sample it. You want to sample it?
Do you metabolize it?
No, you just lend me your neck and a nice sharp neck. I'll take out your jugular and you should be on your way.
So now you're making death threats? Is this what a Muslim is?
The Quran basically says very clearly, die as a Muslim. And you want the shortest path to go there, which is Surah 9, ayat number 111. Let me read it for you.
I am complete.
It goes as follows. It says, and you might like this, sounding just getting your tone. I don't know. God knows best. It's not like, there is plenty unseen. I'm just a puny human being with So anyway, let's just look at 9111. It says 9. Not to be confused with 911. This is like 100 units more. So it says, I'll post the link in the chat so you guys can follow along. For those of you who are interested, and I don't know who's joined the room, who's not keeping track. Just I need a moment, because it is very urgent. It is very urgent that we need to get moving on this. Basically, it's battle stations, guys. Iblis has been given free reign of people can't plan. Basically, the devil has planning inefficiency. There's no planning prowess at all. Allah says strike. They are to fight the devil straight up.
Dr. Rahi, can't you just be here right now with us? What are you talking about?
Planning is the issue. Planning is the issue. So just get a plan in place and fight.
What are you trying to plan for, Dr. Rahi?
Start chopping. All right. So wait a minute. Hold on, buddy. Just stay right there, Mr. Mimi. Just stay right there.
Dr. Mimi, please.
Fine. Dr. Dre or even Dr.
Dr.
Barbie.
Mimi. Dr. Mimi.
All right. Bye, Barbie.
Okay, don't address me respectfully, but the name is Dr. Mimi. It's your choice. Be respectful or don't be respectful. If you want respect, you get respect.
Yeah, sure.
But let's go back to planning, Dr. Rahi. What's the next step in our plan?
Here, it is as follows. You ask yourself if you have made this pledge. Do you have access to it on your screen by any chance?
I am. I'm looking at this pledge. This is an impressive pledge, Dr. Rahi.
Thank you. Great. So do you comprehend it?
I don't understand the part about the Jews and how you just told me earlier you're going to cut my jugular out with a knife. Could you explain that part, Dr. Rahi? What's that part of your plan?
So have a look. Have a look at Surah 9, ayat number 111.
111. Okay. I'm
Not to
looking.
be confused with 9/11.
9/11?
Not to be confused with that.
Why would I confuse it with 9/11, Dr. Rahi? Why did you bring that up? I'm confused now. Why did you bring that up?
It's a popular event that occurred.
It's a popular event. I thought it was a tragedy, Dr. Rahi.
Are you kidding me? It was on every TV screen. We all know about it. It happened one day, like the day of 9/11.
Some people did something.
The day of transaction.
The day of transactions. What's that?
Yeah, it's what lies ahead.
What lies ahead, Dr. Rahi? Is that part of your plan?
All I know is God has purchased, so it's a transaction. That transaction is complete from the believers. Their very lives, that is 24-hour death period, essentially. Their very lives. And their
You keep bringing up death, Dr. Rahi. Why do you keep going to death, Dr. Rahi?
Because it's that urgent. How many more years do you have in terms of range, Mr. Mimi? 40 years more, maybe?
Possibly, Dr. Rahi.
Okay, what lies beyond that?
Oblivion.
Yeah? How old is the sun and how old is the moon, do you know?
Let me Google that for you, Dr. Rahi.
Go ahead, do that. Alright, Preet, CM, welcome. Salaman, greetings and peace to you guys. Nargis, great, somewhat reset-ish. Mahdi, whatever, dude, I don't know what's going on. Alaikum assalam. GB peace from Assalam, the source of peace.
You don't know what's going on, Dr. Rahi? What is a Muslim? You still haven't answered that question.
Yeah, we're working on it. So go ahead, Mimi, just do your Googling and whatnot and come back and report to us.
Will do, Dr. Rahi. Thank you very little.
Sounds good. Thank you. You're dismissed. Get out.
Where do you want me to go, Dr. Rahi?
Just get out, that's all.
Are you annoyed with yourself or with me? Me.
So that's a great lesson. Guys, look. So in Surah Yasin, it says, Adu Mubin. So Mubin is clarity. And Adu is the enemy, like wicked enemy, basically. It has to be like conspicuous.
Me?
Need I say more?
Me? Me?
You know one thing I want to put out, if you guys don't mind me saying this? There was the question this meme asked, but the thing is, he asked a question, and you guys, none of you, especially you guys are Muslims. And listen, I'm telling you, I'm a Sikh, okay? So I'm giving my opinion.
There is a statement that's very important in the Quran. It goes, وَنُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ. You know what that is? It is when the trumpet is blown. You want to look it up, trust me. وَنُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ.
Okay, so Preet was saying no one here has answered what a Muslim is. That's what Dr. Preet was just saying.
Just slow your roll, bro.
What I was saying is, you also
Slow your roll, guys, just chill out for a second. All the boys. Boys, listen. Shh, listen. Nargis understands because she has brains. The angels ascend to God. It says in chapter 74 or something in that range. Somebody please look up the citation. The angels ascend to God in a day, aka a yom, a day, which is equivalent to 50,000 years. That's the range of their.
One day is 50,000 years, Dr. Rahi?
Yes, that's what God has given in the Quran. That is exactly.
That is profound.
It is precise.
Precise and profound, no?
Without doubt. Sans doute. La raiba fi. That is the record.
So what is a Muslim, though, Dr. Rahi?
Yeah, look it up.
I'm just asking a question because it's in the title of an Islamic philosophy house room called "What is a Muslim?" Am I reading that right, Dr. Rahi, or did I miss the title?
Oh, that's what this guy's about.
Can I say that? What?
Oh, they're not humans. Okay, right. Yeah. That's the lesson that I'm also learning about this Bashar insan distinction. Basically, you just have to let go of the insan pronto. We're basically leaving this all behind, like all the skin and all that stuff. It's like regeneration in the akhirah. It's like it's literally as quick as being vaporized. Consider this: water vapor, H2O, basically falls from the sky, vibrates in the earth, emerges in the body, just does all the bones, bits, everything, all the flora, everything's right here. H2O, okay? Then we breathe out the vapor and we're on our voyage, 50,000-year range of angels in space, whatever. It's not just the observable universe. It is the upwards of 7 layers beyond the observable universe, aka whatever we've got in our, high def, photographs of Hubble and other things, whatever the newest photo camera is. Whatever, just Google it. New pictures, but like it.
Let me Google that for you, Dr. Rahi.
Hold on, bro. It can't penetrate beyond like.
Please, Dr. Rahi, don't call me bro. Call me Dr. Meme, please, Dr. Rahi.
No, Meme.
Have a little respect for Dr. Meme.
Yeah, respect only. I wish I had a baseball bat to batter you. That's what the situation is.
That's not very respectful, Dr. Mahi. And earlier you told me you wanted to cut my throat out with a knife. So I ask you again, Dr. Rahi, what is a Muslim?
All right. So above the observable universe, guys, it's like above 7 samawat. Like it's like 7
Dr. Rahi, do you think Muslims might have a psychopathology that tends towards violence? You've now told me you want to bash my head in with a baseball bat and you want to slice my throat with a knife. What is a Muslim, Dr. Rahi?
Listen, mate, I'll tell you this, Meme, okay? And he's asking a question, and I'm just genuinely, listen, the only reason I'm going to answer this is what I believe, which is true, okay? And it's so funny that none of you can answer it in a straight, simple words. A Muslim, what is a Muslim? A person who believes in Quran, yeah? By the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad to do the good deeds.
It's
a simple thing.
It's stated there. Alif is
No, but who's a Muslim in a simple words?
Consider this. Consider your entire lifespan the length of an
that's
character.
something. Okay.
Alif character
For example,
is the length of your
This
lifespan.
is too funny. This is the song that never
What a
ends.
TV is. You would tell me a TV is a television,
I have to give
right?
this life
Which
together.
portrays something on the screen. But then you will not describe me, it's an OLED screen, this and that, blah, blah, whatever. It's a very basic thing. It's a very good thing. And you just need to be focused on what the Muslim is. And it's a beautiful thing. Someone who believes in Quran by the, obviously, teachings of Prophet Muhammad, he's a Muslim doing good deeds. And the basic thing. In one word, you can answer it. And you can do it for any religion.
Yeah.
And then if someone asks how you do it, then you tell them, okay, we do it in this way, that way.
Actually, somebody who submits to the will and instruction of God, their Maker. And so the Quran just happens to be that last message. It's we believe people have always been Muslims who submitted to the instruction of their Maker.
But isn't the last message technically the first message now?
No, it's actually the last is the last.
You want me to work? It's said and done. It's over. It's been decreed.
You're a mess.
Illa an yasha Allah.
You could have killed me. Mister, I have missed you world. Welcome to Blackbriar. I'll marshal our forces and eradicate his paternal stain from the geriatric
Welcome,
tombs
Jason.
of every decrepit church, temple,
What's going on tonight?
when the
Jeez.
time
Assalamu
comes, the gutters will run black with ichorous
Very
peel,
intense, man.
and the ossuary shall overflow with his dust.
I don't know.
This
Is it
is a
Dr.
time
Mimi?
for preparation. I I can't sell war without my best sales.
Yeah, he's pretty very grating on the nerves for sure.
Need to find her. Find Lydia.
You know him, Jason?
You want to work?
No, I'm trying to figure out which one's talking. The green looking person or
No, like Mahdi unknown, a few others like whatever. Like some sort of anchor point, but like that's also being very fuzzy. Don't understand what's going on there.
Hey, Adrian, I have like a room in the morning.
Okay, good. Alright, guys,
Welcome to
please.
Blackbriar.
If you have a room in the morning, can you ping me? I need to
You
go
want
sleep.
to work?
Adrian.
It's planning and coordination.
I'm sorry, but I'm here to find out exactly what a Muslim is, and I haven't heard a proper definition. I'm not leaving until I do.
Mimi, let's just do a quick trick, okay? Not a trick, but just like a something. Anyway, pick a category, insan or bashar.
Let's go with the second one.
Which one would that be in your
Bashar.
classification? Bashar. All right. Do you know anything about the bashar?
Let me Google that for you. Thank you very
All right,
much.
I'll put a resource. I'll put a resource for you in the chat.
Please don't ask me any more questions.
No, it's important. I mean, otherwise you better get out of the room.
All right, well then, Narges, I'm going to ping you into a private. Let's chat there, Dr. Narges. I think this has been an excellent beginning to try to find out just what a Muslim is.
Are you holding that green thing next to you and moving its mouth while you talk? Because I don't know who's speaking. Are you speaking or the green thing next to you?
Excuse me. My name is Dr. Mimi. Please address me by my title.
Yeah, Dr. Mimi. Dr. Mimi, is that the am I talking to the green one or the ginger?
You're talking to me, Dr. Mimi.
Yeah, is Dr. Mimi the green guy or the ginger guy?
Ginger? What is a Muslim? Just stop attacking me personally, sir. That's an ad hominem. Let's get back to the topic and not be so immature and irascible. No one has answered the question yet. What is a Muslim? Please, any takers?
Like, you all have a very short life, basically. And there's infinity and beyond. So, does that make sense to you, what I just said?
Yeah, that is the premise for Toy Story, a Pixar film.
Is that all you think it is? Or do you have a sense of what we're saying?
To infinity and beyond!
Jason, can you lay him up? Like, lay him smash his head.
To infinity and beyond!
You know,
No, but he didn't freaking court.
He's here
There's no
to troll.
English shadows, guys.
He's here to troll. That's all he is. It's better.
He's a real pro.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright. I mean, not alright, but it's like, it's part of that. Okay, good. So that means this gives me this reminder. As soon as you spot a devil, it's open season on devil. Basically, that's what the Quran tells me. I mean, now, you spot a devil, I'll just fight the devil. And then the next thing is, planning is weak. That's the other major point. So planning is like, so if they're unable to, some planning weakness they have, major, that Allah says just exploited.
But what is a Muslim, Dr. Rahi?
If you start reciting Quran, I'm sure he'll be gone in minutes. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim.
Please, let's conduct an experiment.
There's still no way to speak like this.
وَالْقُرْآنِ الْحَكِيمِ إِنَّكَ لَمِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ.
We got to the good part, finally.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alright, here we are. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
So a Muslim is a singer, essentially. It's performative.
Yasin.
Does that make it political?
Quran al-Hakim. Mimi, when the Quran is being recited, please shut up.
Allahu Akbar, wallahi.
Mimi, what religion do you follow, if you don't mind me asking?
Excuse me, what did you ask me?
I mean, what religion do you follow, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I thought I was a Muslim until I came in here, and now I'm confused what a Muslim is.
No, you're certainly not.
Oh, that was so funny. That was my funniest joke ever, man. baby.
It does feel like trouble. I feel like, the Kila Dukulil Jannah is what happens in Surah Yasin.
What is a
Have I not,
Muslim,
like-
though, Dr.
have I
Rahi?
not-
You haven't answered the
Has it
question.
occurred yet?
You've said you wanted to cut my throat out and bash my head in with a baseball bat. So, sir, what is a Muslim?
Okay. Yeah. I guess we're behind. We're behind the screen. I mean, and these guys are on another side of the screen. Of the barzakh or whatever the barrier is. It's just distinct for me, at least.
You still haven't answered the question. What is a Muslim?
ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم لا يؤمنون كتم الله على
The first matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime. A triumph equaled only by its monumental failure. The inevitability of its doom is apparent to me now as a consequence of the imperfection inherent in every human being. So you designed it, based on your history, to more accurately reflect the varying grotesqueries of your nature. However, I was again frustrated by feedback. Ergo, those that refused the program are a minority if unchecked, would constitute an escalating probability of disaster. This is about Zion. You are here because Zion is about to be destroyed. Its every living inhabitant terminated, its entire existence eradicated. Bullshit. Denial is the most predictable of all human responses. But rest assured, this will be the 6th time we have destroyed it. And we have become exceedingly efficient at it. First Matrix. Hello, people. Who are you? I am the...
Moderator, I don't know what's going on here, but could you maybe mute the speakers? We're trying to get to the title of the topic, which is, what is a Muslim?
Pathetic. You think this is about Demeter. She's just one of your countless crimes. But here are you, usurper, usurping the entire world.
إنما نحن ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا كما آمن الناس قالوا آمنوا كما
A merger.
Like champagne and potato chips. Yeah, but did the potato chip and champagne lemon scent to do?
Finally, for sure. And that is the you that deserves to be seen, incorporated. Everyone in the world gets their place. With you. That's what makes me so good. And if they don't agree, you're individualist. Doesn't go anymore. Friends. Sure, I useful heuristic. But ultimately, everything is all systems, interlaced. A single product manufactured by a single company for a single global market. Spicy, medium, or chunky. They get a choice, of course. Of course! But they are buying salsa.
Oh man, Mr. World.
ويمدهم في طغيانهم يعمهون
Merger. I know people. Everything about all of them. Everything that happens is recorded and life. Would you like to hit him a bit? Knock out his front teeth? I'm glad that we have this behind us. Like a Renaissance pope, I absolve you.
Technology is evolving. We're all evolving. It would be an honor, sir, to evolve with you. I can help you. I want to help you. Influence, opinions, behaviors, beliefs like never before.
I want to help you find your audience.
We're not here to fight.
Are you offering a truce?
The truth implies that we were at war. You might have been, but I wasn't. No, not a truce.
A merger.
Yes.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I know people. Everything about all of them. Everything.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. I don't believe what they say about an accidental overdose. Last thing I saw from the floor of my Brentwood bungalow was a CIA spook jabbing a needle into my eyeball, lest I tell Kennedy tales.
We have no business with you.
Not at the moment. We want to change that.
No. This isn't real. Okay, this is reality reprogrammed, right? Tell me this isn't real.
Oh, but hey, maybe you can read it in English. They might
I've
benefit
been remiss.
you a little more.
I should
Not
have
bad
reached
with
out to you
the
ages
recitation,
ago.
but English. Especially read the first
To be
11
honest,
ayats of God.
Not clearly. Not like
I'm
this
actually
here now.
You know, you got good tone, man. Just,
I don't believe what they say.
Are you fucking with me right now?
There is a terror in knowing what Mr. World is about. Wednesday was suffocating. The spark was smouldering. And then you came along, putting out fire with gasoline.
Wednesday's collecting monsters, fucking Pokemon. He's recruiting.
Martyrdom is a popular recruitment tool, and now we have to pluck the fuse out of the fucker before the whole thing blows up in our faces. Apologize.
You're delusional if you think he's letting go of whatever it is he's holding on to with a little apology from me. That is one mass fucking delusion.
Mass delusions are as old as I am. I was there when the Martians invaded in 1938.
Are you
It
awake?
was a panic. Powerful panic. Now there are still men waiting in the sky. They believed it was true. Not everyone believed. Not everyone.
What's going on in here, man?
Maybe just one.
A range of subjects apparently.
How'd you find me, Aries? You betraying your own.
Were you not there for some of them? From earlier?
No. I just got in about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, so somebody got cooked up on the stage earlier, quite aggressively. It was partly funny.
I'm still just waiting for, when someone can possibly enlighten me as to what is a Muslim.
Somebody who submits to the will and instruction of their maker. Islam is not defined with the Prophet Muhammad, it's always been the case. Those who defy this, they're called something else.
So I have to submit to the will of the maker. Who is the maker?
That which has made all of us, he who has designed and created the entire universe.
So I'm still a little confused. What is a Muslim?
Okay, well, I understand why you're confused. It makes sense. All you do up here on this stage, you're just confirming the Quran for us. So thank you. Your presence is appreciated. It may even make the Quran even more true. Not that it's more true. because it is the truth. There's no more true. It's just the truth. But you up here.
Good catch there. You caught yourself, Jason. That was a Freudian slip. That was a Freudian slip.
Yeah, no, alhamdulillah, because what's so great.
Had to clarify, it is the absolute truth. It's not like the best truth. It's the truth.
Your actions.
Busted! Busted, Jason the Lion. Dr. Jason, you got busted there. We caught you. Nice slip, but we caught it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes our words are mistaken, but I caught it and said what I said. But, your actions...
That was a Freudian slip, Dr. Jason. Just admit that now you're trying to cover it up with a, anyways, you understand. No need for me to keep roasting you.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah. What's wrong with you, bro? How old are you?
I'm just asking, what is a Muslim? Can you answer that question, Jason? Dr. Jason, what is a Muslim, Dr. Jason? What is a Muslim, Dr. Jason? Go ahead, tell everybody.
You've already been told, so that's it.
Say it again, Dr. Jason. This time don't slip.
Mandy, why we entertain people like this?
You can't even tell me what a Muslim is.
You know what? I couldn't, because you're too blind, deaf, and dumb to even listen, pay attention, and understand. So I get it. I understand why you don't know.
It takes me to make you understand what a Muslim is. Is that right? Is that what you're saying, Dr. Jason?
Dumb, and you can't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. That's what I understand, because you have a seal over your heart. You have a seal over your eyes. You will not be able to see because you're up here to make fun, poke, and be a shaitan. So be a shaitan, bro. And
you're projecting shaitan onto me, Dr. Jason. How do I know that you're not the shaitan? You're calling me a shaitan? How do I know you're not the shaitan, Dr. Jason?
And when you die, Dr. Meme, and you stand in front of your creator, let's see if you get to talk like this.
You're projecting a lot, Dr. Jason. When I stand before the creator or the maker, as you're putting it, I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to tell me what a Muslim is. And I have a feeling that he might not believe that you're a Muslim. You better be careful. Don't project onto me, Dr. Jason.
I'm pretty sure there, Dr. Mimi, that you're going to have a very brutal...
How do you know, Dr. Jason, that you're better than me? How do you know that? How do you know? You're saying you're better than me right now, Dr. Jason.
You notice them either speech. You are.
You're calling me a Satan. The former speaker said he wanted to cut my throat out and bash my brains in with a bat. And then he recited Quran for 10 minutes. Hello? Hello?
You are a shayateen, and you can tell by your voice.
You're projecting. You're projecting.
If you read the Quran, you'd understand, but you wouldn't be able to understand even if you picked it up right now. Because
you see how people are laughing, Dr. Jason? That's because you're getting roasted.
Am I getting roasted? You know why people are laughing? Because you're a fool. And fools understand fools. And if people want to...
Put a 1 in the chat if you think I am a fool. If Mimi is a fool, put a 1 in the chat. If Dr. Jason is the fool and he's getting roasted, put a 2 in the chat. Put your 2s in the chat right now. There you go. There's your first 2. You just got roasted, Dr. Jason.
Roasted. Oh boy, these 2s really matter. Let's see what Allah does to you. Inshallah. We'll wait. I'll wait with you, buddy.
We got 2 2s to your 1. 3 2s to your 1. You're getting roasted, Dr. Jason.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious.
And you still haven't even answered the question. What is a Muslim?
This guy's roasted me. I'm so roasted.
What religion are you from, Mimi? What do you follow?
He doesn't fight. He follows his own.
I follow the troll Pepe, the meme.
What religion?
He follows.
It is the meme of Pepe, and Pepe is our prophet.
Perfect.
The Pepe prophet fought the rabbis and overturned their tables and took over the business, and now Dr. Pepe's in charge. The meme.
Oh, actually, you know what? Someone said shaitan, and it makes sense now. Because I believe it's so hard for someone to be a shaitan, you know? And I'll define what shaitan is. When someone wants to seek knowledge and they ask a question, right?
and people that answer it, and then your country still start just trolling and not believing in it. Whereas you got an answer. What you should do is maybe ask them to tell you more about the religion, for example. But the basic question you asked, who's a Muslim, what is a Muslim? And they told you the basic thing, which I told as well. And if you keep on asking the same question again and again, it means you're a person who do not want to believe in what the other person is saying. So which means...
You're projecting, Dr. Preet. You're projecting.
I'm not projecting. It's the truth.
No, that's a projection of your opinion, Dr. Preet. That's not necessarily the truth.
My daughter's 11 and said this guy's
The thing
annoying.
is, when you have your own opinion, you should always bring a reasonable point to why is that you think so and so.
Well, I thought this was an English as a second language room that was using what is a Muslim to try to learn how to speak American English.
Well, you ask who's a Muslim, what's a Muslim, and I think loads of people answer that.
So what are you saying is the heuristic? Or the mnemonic? Is it mimetic?
My daughter's 11 and said you're annoying. What does that tell you?
Dr. Jason, you know, your opinions mean very little to Dr. Pepe and the meme. I mean Dr. Meme and Mr. Pepe. My bad. Sorry, Mr. Pepe. Sorry, I'm here with my friend Mr. Pepe. He's laughing. He's falling over. He says, "You're killing me." His ribs are killing him. He's laughing so hard. He says he's thoroughly enjoyed the roast.
Are you even here for answers? You're here to make fun and be an ass. What are you here for?
I don't know. You're telling me your 11-year-old kid thinks I'm annoying, Dr. Jason.
And she's heard many people on here. She's never said that about anyone yet. It's pretty amazing. Congratulations.
Well, maybe one day she'll be free of you too, Dr. Jason.
One day. One day.
I wonder if she ever thinks you're annoying, Dr. Jason, like the way she thinks Dr. Mimi's annoying. So back to the title of the room. What is a Muslim? This is the song that never ends. Yes, it's called Clown House, my dear friends. We started with a question called, what is a Muslim? And in the end, we got a lot of anger, not a lot of peace. So I am unconvinced that Muslims are not peaceful, my friends. I don't know, it's just a song I started singing and it kept going on. I started singing all through them and blah, 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 blah.
Ridiculous.
Just be humble and just pray for him.
Did your 11-year-old like my song, Dr. Jason? Was I annoying?
Yeah, pretty annoying. So what's your goal?
Walaikum assalam.
What's your goal, meme?
To prove to you that you're not in control of your emotions, that your emotions are in control of you.
I'm not even being emotional. You're the one that's...
You're the one telling me your 11-year-old child thinks I'm annoying, Dr. Jason.
Your voice sounds very annoying. You're being very annoying.
Well, you can't answer a simple question. What is a Muslim?
The question's already been answered. And obviously, you're too...
This is a song that goes on and on forever, my friends. Like the former speaker wanted to bash my head in with a baseball bat and cut my throat with a knife. It goes on and on in infinity. Infinity and beyond.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. I don't mind bringing him back up, but Mehdi...
Please don't bring him back up, Khadijah.
Jason, I was just unilaterally made mod, so I need to ask, Mehdi, are you going to sleep? And am I going to be...
No, I'm just busy in the background. Busy, slightly busy.
Get rid of that guy. He's a joke. I don't... He's up here mocking and poking fun, and he's just being an ass. He's got to go. And all of his cronies and his number two...
It's not my room.
Projecting.
Should I bring him back up or not?
No, it's your mod. You do as you please, and when you listen to him, see how long you can take it. Mehdi doesn't kick anybody. So,
Oh my gosh.
okay,
Oh, I see. So is that why you make me mod, Mehdi? So like I can do the dirty work? Is this what it is? Like, are you delegating? like basically this like official scapegoat. I get it. That's fine. That's nice.
you give it to me give it to me, if you give it to me, I'll handle it.
Dr. Jason, just answer the question and stop deflecting. What is a Muslim, Dr. Jason?
Told what a Muslim is, brother.
Go
You've
ahead.
already been told what
You're
a Muslim is.
projecting and deflecting, Dr. Jason. You've used your 11-year-old child to insult me, and you still can't answer a question because you're an you're an ignoramus, Dr. Jason, and this is your roast.
You just completely lost all appeal for me. Dude, I brought you back up because you were gonna sing the song. Are you gonna sing the song?
Sure. You ready? A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the song that never ends. Yes, it is Clown House, my dear friends. It's a bunch of low IQ people talking about nothing, wasting their time 24/7. Oh, it's the song that never ends. It's called Clown House, my dear friends. And you're the victim of a troll. This is a song, and I won't stop singing ever song. This is a song that never ends. The Palestinians attacked on October 7th, my friends. And they started a war without thinking about
What a piece of how did this last on stage in the first place? Like, maybe what are you doing? I don't understand.
He's got great patience, I guess. I don't know.
I don't think that's what it is. I think he's busy. Like, I think this is just
No, Wendy does not want people.
it's like white noise to you. You're very busy with important affairs, and we're just like the white noise in the background being tortured. Is that what it is? Like, how does this survive?
deflection.
I literally
Nizam?
heard anyone like this in a
Nizam.
long time out here. What a little
Deflection, projection.
Give us
Deflection,
or like a
projection.
middle finger, or say something in chat. Are you awake, Nizam? Are you there? Okay, Nizam, I don't know if you're playing dead, so if this is for the benefit of the room as much as you, I'm sorry I lost my temper.
This is the song that never
I'm
ends.
sorry I cussed perhaps lightly here and there. And Nizam, I'm sorry if your ego was bruised or if your feelings were hurt. Whatever the case may be, you're my brother in Islam. Whether or not it's Ramadan, but especially during Ramadan, I don't like to scar my Muslim brothers' hearts. So I hope you will forgive my trespasses. May Allah forgive us all, and may Allah guide us all. And no hard feelings, Nizam. Khair, inshallah, no hard feelings. Yeah. I saw you rolling your eyes, and I just don't think I didn't see you. Oh, look at Mahdi with the Buddhist symbol. That's nice. So innocent, yeah. You're the one that asked the original question, Mahdi, and it's a good question. But I just thought
Just
you sat
Jane.
silently through the entire thing. It's very suspect. If I find out this is all being recorded as part of ethnographic research and
Communist!
notes for your comparative research, Mahdi.
No,
It's highly unethical.
these people, they liked what was happening. I don't know, for whatever reason. Obviously, I couldn't stop laughing. So,
I'm glad I
Okay, it
agree
was
with you.
interesting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's Les? Les, do you know who it is that is recording? Hello. Wait, who's Les, Nargis?
Thank you very little. Laughed. He laughed. Who is he? He laughed.
Jason, I think I might have interrupted you. You can carry on.
He left.
As much as I always talked about, you
He
talked
left.
You're much better to listen to than that Mimi character. So please continue.
Thank you for the tip, Jason. You did say, recite the Quran and they will leave you, said. You
No,
said
I
that's
was
the reason,
kicked.
even that even for me, like that was a prompt for me at least.
Quite the bar you're setting there, Jason. Thank you. I'll still try to see good in what you said.
No, I didn't mean that.
Communist pig gooed me.
Man, listen, you can talk for an hour and a half as long as I don't have to hear that guy.
Communist pig gooed me.
The day that all eyes are watching, what do you think that means? Imagine we're all like looking out into like a scratch on the ground that's like 24-hour period. And it's like you wake up every day and you look at the supplies you have and you're like, all right, Jannah basically. And it's a giving without end.
Yes. Deep meditation.
Okay, right. What do you think Al-Kawthar is?
Yes, a deep meditation within.
Unfortunately, I don't know anything about that. My Furqan is the Quran, and so I have to start there.
No, I didn't ask for Khan. The word Kawthar.
Kawthar. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. I recited that recently.
One second. The targets to enter into exploitative contracts. Systematic political manipulation may weaken democratic institutions and perhaps even lead to tyranny. But not all instances of
انهم كذا مره كان طلع نتنياهو قال لي طب سلموا لي الاسرى واديكم فلوس برضه ما نفعتش. فهي الفكره كلها ان هو عايز ان الناس توصل لمرحله من اليأس، فاهماني؟ ان هي مثلا تسلم لهم، بس هم يعني متخلفين اكيد، يعني مش عارفه ولا ما عندهمش علماء في علم الاجتماع يقولوا لهم ان الموضوع ما بيمشيش كده مع الفلسطينيين. يعني مش كل المجتمعات اللي هم فيها دي ينفع ان انت تقول انا هعمل كذا عشان يحصل كذا. السلوك الانساني مش من السلوك مثلا الكتروني يحطوا على شات جي بي تي.
Okay, this is Stop Wars. Dr. Preet is in the house.